It's your birthday today. Your father loves you. Here, he works here at TV3, and if it's yours as well, happy birthday. But today is International Sickle Cell Day, or World Sickle Cell Day. Now, sickle cell disease is a group of blood disorders that affects hemoglobin, the molecule in red blood cells that delivers oxygen to the cells throughout the body. It's typically inherited from parents. It's World Sickle Cell Day today, as I mentioned earlier, and Henry Kate Boy Okanse is a medical student at the Central University. He shares a story of how he has been living with sickle cell for 23 solid years. Take a look at this.
It's sometimes it's difficult, you know. You have to take your medications. You have to adhere to some rules, some of those rules that are given to you, so that you wouldn't get into crisis. So it's a little difficult, but it's not too far from normal. Since I was a kid, I've been taking folic acid every morning because of this condition of the cells. It makes it difficult for the body to absorb folic acid. So we take it every morning, to help increase all of that. And you are not supposed to expose yourself too much to cold and then to wet environments, especially when it's rainy. So you need to cover up when it rains. And in case you get wet when it rains, you need to, dry up almost immediately too. And then you need to be hydrated a lot. So an average person is supposed to take like 8 sachets or 8 glasses of water a day. A sickle cell person has to take about 12 a day. So that's the difference, because the cell can't hold as much water as that of a healthy person. My worst one was when I was in pre-sec second year. I was in crisis for like 3 weeks straight. 3 weeks straight. So I don't know if anyone has had a dislocation. It's not like the pain, but the pain you feel immediately you get dislocated, and it's like that continuous. Sometimes it goes down, sometimes it subsides. That's how it is. It's almost like hell. When I was a kid, I used to feel a little underpowered, and I used to feel a little left out because there were so many things I couldn't do. I wasn't supposed to do, but a kid is a kid, and I was a boy. So when I was a kid, I was a little bit of an introvert. But now, since I got out of high school, I became a little okay. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it than to adhere to the rules and, and then I believe that I can do everything. I work out. I work out a lot. I go to the gym and all that. I don't let my condition hold me back, because I don't put it mentally. I don't make it a burden, so I don't feel too much left out now amongst my peers. Fortunately for me, my mother is a nurse and my aunt owns a pharmacy shop. She owns a pharmacy. So fortunately for me, my mom knows the drugs and the pills I'm supposed to take, so she usually just goes there and gets it for me. But I think a lot of the hospitals, if not all of them, have some sort of sickle cell clinic that you can go, and then they'll give you your painkillers and your supplements. Yeah, they give them. But sometimes you can buy them like from a pharmacy shop, because pharmacists are also educated in how to, so they can, when you go there and you report like the condition, they can help to give you your drugs and your pills, and then you take them. So that's how we get them usually, from the pharmacy or from the hospital. I believe I can do anything and everything. I intend to specialize in cardio. I want to be a cardiologist and then a surgeon. So those are my inspirations. But then sometimes too, I want to help. I want to, do a little bit of genetics to help mitigate the pain and all that sickle cell patients go, especially the kids, because it's very difficult. And I know I can. I mean, sickle cell is not holding me back. When I was a kid, I used to have the fear of dying early, because that's what we were told. Sickle cell patients don't live, I think, 18. But And then because of that, my mom used to hold me back, you know, the only boy. So she used to hold me back from certain things, but I stopped preventing myself. I went all out in everything I did. And I believe I can do everything. So I'm sure I can achieve my dreams of becoming a cardio surgeon, probably in the next 10 years.
The chilling story of Henry out there. I've been joined in the studio by Mary Kyampoma. She is a clinical psychologist with the Ghana Institute of Clinical Genetics at Kolebu, and she's also the vice president of the Sickle Cell Association of Ghana, the Kolebu chapter. Mary, welcome. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too.
Today is not a day to celebrate, if you ask me, but how many Henrys are out there?
Okay. There are a lot of Henrys in Ghana. Henry is an adult, so I'm going to make reference to him. Okay. I work with the adult sickle cell clinic, and we have like 26,000 patients living with sickle cell, both children and adults at the Kolebu alone. So there are a lot. For babies, we have like 15,000 babies born every year with sickle cell, and we have like 2% of all newborns with sickle cell. So the burden is huge when it comes to sickle cell, which is a non-communicable disease.
Right.
Yes. So when we talk about sickle cell, we are passionate because there are a lot of people living with sickle cell who go undiagnosed.
Okay. They are not aware that they have sickle, they have the condition.
Yes, because education is not much, right? Education is not much. We are not doing more for people to know much about sickle cell. So people might have pain crisis. People might develop other complications related to sickle cell, but they may not know that they have sickle cell. Another thing that can also prevent people from knowing is stigma. Okay. We stigmatize a lot. And when you stigmatize, you are devaluing the person, you are discrediting the person. So the person feels like it's better that people don't know that I have sickle cell. So I have patients who grandmothers prevented, they knew they had sickle cell, but they prevented them from coming to
because of societal
to the clinic. Stigma. Right, and they were giving them painkillers, but the issue
how dangerous is that?
Yes, the issue is
how dangerous is that? They just not taking painkillers on your own and not coming for medical attention. How dangerous is that?
It's very dangerous because you might not know what is causing it, because usually they have to look at the root cause of it. Right. Aside that, sickle cell is not just a pain. The symptoms, it's not just pain.
Let's start from the top.
It's not just pain.
What is it? How do people get sickle cell, the condition? Tell me about it.
I'm not a physician.
Okay.
And because of my training, I would prefer to stay in the psychosocial aspect of living with sickle cell.
Okay, but you can give us a brief background.
Yes, Henry made mention of a lot of psychosocial issues that I want to take it up from there. Okay. We know that
but we need to set the tone with a few definitional issues. We know that
sickle cell is a blood-related condition, and the fact that sickle cell is genetic. It is transmitted from parents to children. So one parent has an abnormal hemoglobin, which can be S, C, D, E. Okay. And another parent has the same, but they don't know that they are carriers. Okay. They don't have sickle cell, but they are just a carrier of one abnormal hemoglobin.
So when they come together...
because the child is or will take one hemoglobin from each parent. So if the child takes the S from the mother, takes the S from the dad, the child has sickle cell because the child has two abnormal hemoglobins, at least one of them being S. If the child take S from mom, C from daddy, it's still SC, which is also a type of sickle cell condition.
Is it preventable? For example, these days before people get married, they ask to go for blood tests. Is it preventable where two people who fall in love, but they are told that medically, if you have children, they will have this predicament? So don't get married. Are there instances like that?
Yes, but you know, people have to make their informed choices.
Right.
Nobody can say don't get married, but you give them the information.
Okay.
Give them the information.
Right.
Let them know the consequences. So even when they go into it, they know that this is what we are expecting.
Right.
If they don't want it and they want to go their separate ways, that's fine. But nobody has the mandate to say that you have S, you have this, so don't get married. But just give them the information and let them
decide.
Make their own informed decision whether to get married or not.
Henry talked about the fact that when he was young, he felt underwhelmed. He didn't feel good about himself. He always had to keep himself in a certain background so that, you know, he's not out there in the face of people. Is that a normal scenario within our space and our society?
Right. When it comes to sickle cell condition, it is a chronic condition.
Okay.
And because we don't have much education, people are not aware of it that much, people tend to stigmatize. So there are certain myths surrounding sickle cell, like they die early. So sickle cell is like a childhood disease, but now we know better that they live longer. We have patients who are in their 90s, 80s, 70s, so they live longer.
But some die young too.
Just like any other condition, you can have malaria and die early, right? You can have diabetes and die early, right? So just like any other condition, if it's not diagnosed, if they are not specialists to take care of them, and they get acute conditions, they might die early.
Right.
So I don't want sickle cell being tagged that people living with sickle cell die early. No, it's just like any other condition. And because of the stigma that they die early, the myth there that they die early, they are not healthy. As a child, you might grow up knowing that, oh, I have sickle cell, and this is the myth. So a lot of them go through depression, anxiety, and that is where we come in. They go through withdrawal, hostility, because of the fact that they have sickle cell, which they didn't do anything.
Henry talks about the fact that when he was at Presec, he had 3 weeks straight of, you know, some episodes, and it was really painful for him. But then he was able to surmount that, and he feels very confident these days. When people fall into that kind of situation, what should they do?
You know, I always tell people, anywhere I go, that when it comes to living with a chronic condition, it's not just the physical or the medical aspect of it, that the person get pains, the person get other complications related to sickle cell. But then the psychosocial aspect of it, right, is very huge. The psychosocial aspect of it can affect your stress level, because he was in school then. Probably he was overstressing himself, learning, not taking breaks, wanting to make it and all that. And that can cause stress. And when stress comes in, it lowers your immune system. And there's a high probability that pain crisis is as a result of infections too. So if your immune system is low, infection can take over, and you might get pain. Or because you are busily studying, you might not be taking your water, you might not be eating well, and that can all lead to
We'll talk about your lecture shortly, but what advice would you give to parents who have children who have sickle cell, or they themselves have sickle cell, and they go about worrying and thinking that all is lost, there's no light at the end of the tunnel? What advice would you give them?
I just want to let them know that any sickle cell patient can live a normal life. They can live a very normal life when they are diagnosed early. When they are diagnosed early, when they are treated or managed well. We have people who are in their 90s, 80s, who were nurses and all that. So there is hope.
There's hope.
There's hope. We have new drugs coming in, hydroxy, which helps to prevent frequent crisis. We have new we have clinics. We have specialists who take care of
So
sickle
there are
cell
resources
patients.
available
It's
to
just
help
that
them.
it's not enough.
Okay, great.
It's not enough. Like, for instance, if you want to talk about newborn screening, we don't have a national newborn screening policy.
In Ghana.
And that is what, yes. I mean, for non-communicable diseases there that people should be screened, right? But then we haven't implemented it.
Especially
So,
for newborns.
yes.
So when somebody is born, the screening is not done. So the detection is done later.
Right.
Wow.
So now we have Sickle Cell Foundation partnering with Novartis to start a newborn screening.
Okay.
I think they did it last year. It's still running. But the issue is, would it be continued after the funds are done with?
Good question.
Would it be national, not just Kolebu, but Kumasi, Tamale, everywhere? All the regions.
Good question. Finally, let's talk quickly about the symptoms, maybe 3 or 4 symptoms that parents should look out for or individuals should look out for.
As I said,
but I think you work at the sickle cell.
Yes, the main people come in a lot with pain crisis.
Okay.
So that's the hallmark of all the symptoms.
Okay.
That's pain crisis. Then the second thing is some of them also experience strokes.
Strokes.
Especially when they are young. I mean, it's not everybody that gets stroke.
Okay.
But a child can have stroke.
Right.
An adult, it can be overt or silent.
Right.
Some too have sores on their legs. Okay. Some too get what we call prapism, where you are not in the mood to have sex, but then your penis is erect and it's very painful. Yes.
Okay, great.
So
let's talk about your finally your what do you call it? The lecture that's coming up today on sickle cell. Give us the dates, the venue, and the theme, the speakers.
Okay,
quickly.
so today we are having a lecture at the Ghana College for Physicians and Surgeons in Accra at Ridge, and it's part of the awareness.
Okay, what time are we starting?
We are starting at 3:30 p.m. and the theme is blood is thicker than water.
Blood is thicker than water. Interesting theme. Who's speaking at the lecture?
Professor Solomon Ufuriakwa.
Right.
Blood is thicker than water because we know from history, from studies that sickle cell started in Africa. Okay, so it started in Africa, but left the shores of Africa to all the various regions.
We will get all the details at 3 p.m. Thank you very much, Mary. Mary wants to start the lecture here. Mary Ekuyampoma is a clinical psychologist with the Ghana Institute of Clinical Genetics at Kolebu. She's also the vice president of the Sickle Cell Association of Ghana, Kolebu chapter. Thank you very much. So